I don't know if any of you have heard about our Fireside chats. We host regular Fireside chats at the iHub, and the idea is that we try and bring CEOs and other big shots who we may not necessarily get a chance to rub shoulders with, and bring them before you and allow you to ask them all the hard questions about how they got where they did. Over the years, we've had people like Marisa Meyer here, who at the time was a VP at Google. We've had John Scully here, who used to be a CEO at Apple. We've had Joy Ito here, who is a director at MIT Lab. And so we're extremely excited when we get to have such kinds of people in the spaces. Other than Fireside Chats, we also have entrepreneurs forums, which are basically, we hold them on Saturdays. We actually have one this coming Saturday. And we're going to be discussing how to determine that the idea that you have is the idea that will set you off towards being a big shot. And so what we try to do with the entrepreneurs forums is trying to allow you to assess opportunities and challenges in different industries, understand the kind of stuff you need to do as an entrepreneur to get where you need to go. We also have a craftsmanship series. And what we try to do with that, especially because a lot of our community is techies, is we try and teach them soft skills. Because it doesn't matter if you're the most brilliant coder, you also need to know how to have face-to-face conversations with people. So those are just some of the forums that we have. And there's stuff that, my very unbiased opinion is that we do them incredibly well. And so we wanted to try our hand at something new, iHub Speaks. And I'm going to invite Nakia to speak more about that and set us rolling.
Hi, good evening. How are you? So Nakissa really explained so many things exceptionally well. But just to give you a little bit about iHub Speaks. iHub Speaks is something that we kind of thought of in the spirit of Ignite, in the spirit of Creative Mornings, in the spirit of TED Talk. We really wanted to do something a little bit different than what was typically done at iHub, and really making it a bit more interactive. And for instance, this particular talk will be about technology and music and how the two meet or intersect. So every series from here on out with iHub, either an iHub seminar or an iHub talk, will really be something that's really creative, interactive, and not necessarily deal with tech. So we're thinking about having fashion industry experts come in, and just from a whole different genre of what you probably are used to hearing from. So we're really excited about this series. We thank you guys for all coming out and supporting us tonight. And with that being said, I want to invite our first inaugural, amazing, awesome speaker, Blaze. Can you give him a round of applause, please? Blaze?
Thank you so much, iHub and Nakia and Nakessa for making this possible, and obviously for all the people that made it here. How you guys doing? I don't really do too many of these talks, but I like to have a vibe, because it's music we're talking about. So we want to be able to just have a chat, So you're talking to somebody who's been in the industry for a couple of years. I've dealt with a lot of musicians, worked with many different artists, and we use a lot of technology in music. Times have changed. It's not the old school system that used to be. You get a record deal, and then you have to go chase the radio stations to make your music out. Nowadays, you can be all that in one. You can get on your phone, you can push your music, you can distribute your music using technology, you can market using technology, you can basically you can perform online as your fans watch. So things have changed. I mean, we all know the story of a young group in Kenya called Camp Mula. Everybody know Camp Mula? How they started? In high school. So here they are, young group. They got access to their mother's studio. So they go in there, they make music. They start sending music to their friends through Bluetooth. Before you know what, one of their friends says, "Hey, listen, instead of just sending this music around school, how about we get on YouTube or we get on SoundCloud and get on and eventually get on radio." So here, a bunch of kids who have no interest in the music business at the time, but are messing around in the studio, just making songs. All of a sudden, their songs make it to Capital FM, and all of a sudden they become these big stars. Pretty much one of the reasons why they broke up, right? Because they didn't even know that they were going to be that big. So that's a story of technology. They pushed most of their music using Bluetooth, YouTube, SoundCloud, to their friends. You get 15 people listening to music. All of a sudden there's 30 people listening to music. All of a sudden there's 100. Before you know what, they're taking over the country. They were the first East African group to ever get a nomination on BET. And these are just kids playing around with music, playing around with technology, with their phones. Everybody now has one of these new school phones. Everybody can download a WhatsApp. Everybody can listen to music on their phones. It's a new day. So you don't need the radio stations. You don't need the television stations to play your video. Another example is Octopizzle. So I worked with Octopizzle a few years when he still lived in Kibera, when he was still number 90. And he basically, what he did, what was so genius, is he tried to get his music on the radio stations. And every time we would go to the radio station, they would say, nah, this music is not. So you know what he did? He built his own, on his website, he built his own radio station. So you go to his website, and you can play his whole album. You can play that. Yeah. So what he did is he's created his own Octopizzle FM, kind of like, okay, so the radio stations will not play my music. I'll have my fans come to my website and I'll play my music, and I'll put my videos, and I'll create my own media, and that's what he did. So it's kind of like, you go to his website, you go to his life. There's projects he's doing, his blog, his store. Basically everything about him is on the site. And what ended up happening is people would call the radio stations and say, okay, we're listening to this kind of music. How come you're not playing it on the radio? How come Octopizzle is not? And then the radio stations are going back and looking at his YouTube views. They're looking at his, the amount of hits that his website was getting, his lifestyle. What he did, he sold a lifestyle to young kids. Anybody here a fan of Octopizzle? How many fans over here? There you go. See? So that's how it is. Like, he really just built himself. This is a kid from Kibera. Like, he had no schooling in technology. He really just an ambitious young guy that wanted to make it and leave Kibera, and he finally did it. And this is really how he came up. He was selling hats. He was selling his own T-shirts. He was selling his gigs. He would put the gigs up in there, and there you go. Now you have a big brand, and I don't even know if he's in the country as we speak. He's probably on tour somewhere. And that's really an example of using technology as an artist to promote yourself, promote your brand, and push yourself out there, And I think the sky's the limit. You can only keep making it better. So I think the website looks a lot more better now that he's got money. When he started, it was just a basic website with his radio station, and he would just play his music. And I think that worked. Did people know this? You guys know how his story started? That's how he really started pushing his music to his own website. So that's one story. Internationally, we have a rapper called Tech Nine. You guys know Tech Nine? In the city where he's from, they didn't want to play his music because at that time, the type of music that he was doing was either too intelligent or it was just different. It wasn't crunk, because at the time that he came up in the South, it was mostly crunk. You can play a video. This is Tech Nine. Tech Nine is now one of the richest rappers in the world because he went a different idea. He created a different type of music. But what he did is just post. What he
was just giving me ideas.
what he did was, which was different from the other rappers, is he did not wait for a record deal. What he did is he created his own kind of record label, and he would perform. He would perform over 1,000 shows a month, just going into different spaces and saying, I want to hold a concert here. I want to go over here and just, he would go to colleges. A lot of artists wait to be invited to these colleges. He would just come to your university and say, hey, listen, I want to do a gig over here. Can I? So he would just, all of a sudden, people start paying attention to him because he was doing more shows than the regular rappers, the rich rappers. And he worked all his way up to being one of the richest rappers in America as we speak. Yeah, go ahead.
Is for what he wants to do, and he said he wanted to do something that's up tempo, but had like a classical element to it.
I'll tell you a secret that nobody else would know. When I had the idea, I was on tour, maybe I was in Canada or something, I don't know. I told at 7, I want a beat that's kind of moving like the beast. Boom, 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 that tempo. Boom, boom. I want to be able to rap, you know what I'm saying?
One, two, no, 1, 2, 3.
All the other stuff
He
that
was
you
very
hear on
different
it,
because
the
what he did was
strings and the
he
choir
incorporated
and all that,
classical
was stuff
music
that
in
we
his
just
raps.
added afterwards.
His style is very different. I mean, just go out there and follow up on Tech Nine. He's made a great. Everybody's trying to emulate his style, but it's out there. He did it, and that's one of the biggest things as an artist. Getting on the first time, how do I get recognized? How do I get people to recognize me? You have to be different. You have to do things different. You have to stand out. You got to use the things around you. Technology is free. Nobody's going to charge you any money to put your video on YouTube. Nobody's going to charge you money to put, unless you start, making really, really lots of noise and becoming a big artist. That's when you start seeing the cost. But all these things are free. How many people are artists here? Any artists? Yeah. Are you signed? Are you out? Are you already performing? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, that's been some of the most notable examples of just artists, and these are people I've met, these are people I've worked with, and one thing that really sets them aside is how hardworking they are and how determined they are. They're like, if the traditional avenues of promoting my music don't work, you hear all the time. You see it in the news. We have artists saying, "Oh, we don't get played," or they're playing more Nigerian music, or they're playing more this. It's like it's really back to the artists. It goes back to how hungry they are, and how bad they want their music to come out, and using technology, because it's free. All these things, people have all these great gadgets, but they don't use them. Use that. Use those gadgets to push your music to the world. All right? Any questions, or should we just keep rolling until we have a question time? Go ahead. Use the same avenues. I mean, the way that would work is eventually somebody will like your beat and they'll be like, hey, how can I sing on this beat? Or, just if you keep releasing, and there's many different communities. In Nairobi, for example, we have the Creative Garage, we have What's Good TV, there's so many different little communities. If they start listening to your music, then all of a sudden, they start asking you to do remixes. You ever heard of a DJ called, what's his name? Young DJ, Jinko? Yeah, so he's just come up, and all of a sudden he's producing remixes for Madoni and big artists. So I mean, he just came up and kept pushing his music using Facebook and using yeah, SoundCloud and Instagram. And when you look at these things, you're just like, look at all these people on Instagram with their photos. Well, some people really are pushing their art and they're pushing their brands, and that's how you get noticed. And then also be part of communities that will lead you where you want to go. So the EDM community in Kenya is pretty big. I mean, you got 6am, you got, there's so many communities. All you have to do is just make sure every time you release a beat, they have it. And I think that's what Octo did. He used Facebook so much. I remember putting on my computer, I'm like, Octo Pizzo, man, everywhere. You just see his stuff, So he was just posting and posting. I think now, the more you grow, so he's more organized now. He has a social media team that actually does that work for him. You might not see as many posts as possible, but he's one of those artists that if he does something today, the whole world is probably going to be talking about it. So you need to be able to just time people. Some people have even got it to the T. They're like, okay, Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock, that's the time to post. Don't post after lunch because people are not really online. So some people have a science of how to post these things, and they've used it to their own benefit. And I'm talking about, artists like Diamond to Ice Prince, who we've worked with, are so particular about their social media. It's crazy. It's like another arm of their business. I mean, they take that stuff seriously. Whereas the Diamond goes around with a social media team of at least 5 people. If you've ever booked them, I've booked them a few times. You've seen his social media team is bigger than his music team. Yeah, so it works for him. So these things are out there, and that's how if you want to get on as an artist, you have to really value yourself as a brand nowadays, because we all know it's 90% other things, maybe 10% talent. It's only 10% talent. Like once you're good, everything else falls in place through your business links and your business undertakings and what else you're doing out there, right? How to get booked as an artist is many different ways you can get booked. I mean, you either have a really good agent, a good manager, you either just have really good music that everybody wants to book you, and you can use technology, So I just managed to be with a bunch of techies that maybe you guys have heard of them. There's an app called Fezza. We can play it so you can see. Fezza is an app where now you don't even have to talk to people anymore. You just put your name, put your picture, put your stuff in there, and people just book you as an artist. So Fezza, it's created by some guys who used to work at Google, and now they just went out there and built this app. It's called Fezza. You can watch the video.
Celebration easier. So, what is Fezza? Fezza is an app that helps you book musicians, bands, or DJs in the quickest, simplest way possible. To use Fezza, go to Google Play on your Android phone. Search for Fezza and install the app. Once installed, open Fezza and browse through the list of musicians, bands, and DJs to find your favorite ones. Check each artist for their available dates and pricing, then send them a booking request. With Fezza, you can also view and listen to samples of artists and their performances, check out ratings and reviews from previous customers and fans, compare performance feeds between artists, and track the status of your booking from start to finish. It's time to give the gift of live music to yourself and others. Book a musician, band, or DJ for your next celebration today with Fezza.
Boom. That's on every phone, every Android phone. You can get that app. It's doesn't cost you anything. As a booker, you just go over there. You look for what artist you want. You book that artist. So now you don't have to know anybody. You don't have to call anybody. It's right there. So the barriers are being broken down with technology. I mean, I use this app as a booker because I can go on there. I can see which artist is available on what dates because they put their schedules. I can tell their price from there. I can also sell it to my clients. If clients want a certain artist, I can be like, this is the artist, and it's very transparent. And It's just been launched. We're about to launch it. It's launched in Uganda. We're about to launch it here in Nairobi in the next couple of weeks. But you can download it on your. And if you're an artist, you want to sign up, please let me know so I can put you on there. Okay. So that's using leveraging technology in the music industry. I mean, there's so many different apps. There's so many different ways of doing it. But basically, as a new musician now, you have to be up on technology. If you look at whether it's Kendrick Lamar or one of the biggest artists now, J. Cole, they're very big on this tech thing, and it's been an amazing journey. I mean, if you look at what's going on with Tidal, what Jay-Z did is now he can sell his own music without going through the major, going through iTunes. He can control his own music. He can control his music and the artists that actually work on his label, because you sell the music directly. Remember, Tidal has a membership, so you already have people who are members of your community buying your music. Kanye's album has sold a lot, but remember that all that music was sold through Tidal. He didn't sell it through any other avenue, so he's keeping the money within the family. Any questions on Feza? On Feza? Great. Go ahead. Yeah.
Can you just say where it was created? You said two people that work for Google. Are they?
They're from Uganda.
Okay.
Uganda.
Thanks.
Yes.
You have said that it doesn't cost anything for the guy booking. It doesn't pay. So what's the revenue model for the app?
Also, basically, the app takes 10% of the booking. So you as a client, you just you get it for free. But the Feza, they make their money off the artist. So basically, if an artist charges 200,000 shillings as a 10%, that's included in that fee. That's how Feza makes their money. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let's say, for example, you have a studio where you produce a lot of artists.
Yes.
What criteria do you use to select the right artist to put on Feza? Or do you just select anyone and put them there?
Well, whoever's having the traction with the people. So you have to release the music, right?
Yes.
And you can monitor how many people like that music. Is it, you can always tell, are people listening to it or people not listening to it? So if people are not listening to it, then obviously you're making a loss.
And is there a limit for the number of tracks you can put in there?
On the app? No, just 3 tracks. That's it. Yeah, we keep it limited. So if you want to change one of the tracks, you can change it. So we just put like a listening list of maybe 3 songs. Yeah. Go ahead.
Must you have recorded songs for you to be on the app?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to be an artist. You have to have music so people can hear.
Yeah, like you could be like a live musician, but you've never you've never recorded anything on studio. Maybe you have like YouTube links.
Yeah. We have an opportunity for you to put SoundCloud and YouTube links. It's very possible. Yeah.
My question is, so in terms of exposure for the artist, does Feza push that to
Yes.
the bookers, and do you charge a fee for that? And
No, they're gonna spend a lot of money marketing this app. So they're gonna really go out. They were just in Kenya at the Kenya Music Week, really letting everybody know. They're gonna make a campaign to actually go to clients, hotels, and people to book artists often and go, tell them book the artists that are on this. They're also gonna be doing special events for their clients. So already in Uganda they're doing it. They're actually based in Uganda, and then they're just slowly coming into the Kenyan market. If you have any other stories or any other apps that you want to share with us, I like to share. We are family. Go ahead.
What does the graduation cap and the heart mean on the icons?
Graduates, that one?
Yeah.
Probably schools.
I was wondering if it means a speaker or.
No, it's probably performances at schools and stuff like that. Yeah.
what is the lowest price you'd advise an artist who's just putting up his music on Feza? Let's say just someone who's just starting up. So what is the lowest price for a startup musician?
I mean, it's economics, right? How much money are you spending? That's how you charge, right? How much money, where do you think your brand is? Do you think you're a big enough brand for to start charging? So let's just say the biggest artist in East Africa would probably be Diamond, right? He charges $50,000 a show. So now you do the math. Where do you fit in? And he's a big artist. So you just have to, create your brand big enough for you to, it's how you feel. If you feel like you want to start with 100,000 and you're worth it, cool. Sometimes people get cornered in one of these hustles, and you find he thinks he's worth 100,000, but he ends up charging 20,000, and that's how life goes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. I signed up on Feza a while back. I think it's quite okay. It gives you a lot of details that you have to put up. So I was just clarifying for her. If you don't have a recorded music, I actually just put something we recorded on our phone during a session and I posted it there. So that can work. There's also one called Mime Sunny. It's a local one by
Giuliani. Yes, yeah. That's really dope too.
So we were with him in a certain event, and it's pretty much does almost the same thing, but he's trying to put other ways that it can.
He does more also management and following up, and so Giuliani is one of the artists in Kenya that has also used technology to transform Kenya in many ways. You can follow his story, mimesunny.com, right? It's just one of these kind of apps, and what it does is, musicians, you want to concentrate on your art, you want to concentrate on performing, you want to concentrate on what you do best. Let somebody else worry about booking you. So you come out of your studio, you look on your phone, you're like, oh man, I have a show in that year. So all that stuff, all the details are there, you booked, everything goes to your email, you register. When you register, you put an email address, so every time you get something, you hear your phone ringing, like somebody has booked you, and so you arrange your schedule accordingly. Yeah. Yeah. It's if you're a new artist, it's a good app to promote yourself, because when they talk about this app, they're going to be showing the artists that are on the app and promoting them and saying we have all these artists. So what they're going to do is they're going to be forced to come out and start pushing this app to everybody eventually. Any other questions? So go ahead.
Sorry, I had one more. Based on his question on how to price yourself.
Yeah.
One of the ways I've seen artists increase their brand value is through winning certain awards.
Yeah.
Are there other ways to do that? I mean, just generally,
it's really
how do you increase your brand value?
It's really how much your demand is, I think that's what really happens. Is every time somebody wins an award, just know that their price has gone up. That's, artists don't last too long. Not too many artists have been, apart from like Tina Turner or, Celine Dion. Artists don't last, especially pop artists. They don't last too long. So they have to make their money as soon as possible. So you look at a maybe 5 to 10 year window, you have to make your cash. So they use sometimes, it will be an award. Number two will be like, like a good friend Davido has just signed with Sony. Oh yeah, his price is going up. He's like, I'm on Sony now, Or when D'banj performed did a song with Snoop, he's like, yo, I was with Snoop now, my price is going up, So, I mean, you can use different things, just your experiences, maybe also just a different sound, or let's say your experiences. What have you been up to? If you think that you sold 1 million records, your price goes up. You understand? So there's different things. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but that's how it works. Or maybe you bought a new instrument in your band. Maybe you added an extra player. Maybe you didn't have a violin, and now you have a violin player. You're like, okay, cool. We're gonna charge more. That's it. Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Based on the details that you just gave, can you add those details onto your profile on Feza?
Like what?
Playing a violin, for example.
Oh yeah, you can add that. You can add that. You can add everything. Basically, somebody needs to pick up the app and feel like they know you. You know, see your, obviously you're gonna put pictures, your music, a little bit about yourself, your bio. You can keep editing. Yeah.
It's just a comment. A lot of musicians, many don't remember to price themselves based on the audience that they command on social media. And I think that if you have a big enough social media audience, then there's brand value that you can then put a price on and tell brands that I'm the best person and I cost this much money because there's 2 million people who interact with me weekly and who would know about your brand if you used me.
It. Yeah, social media is huge. Like, so basically I sit in meetings with brands. We go through artists. They look at your social media. They're like, okay, listen, this DJ Shock, she has only 50 followers. You're lying to us. You're lying. But if I take there an artist, for example, I remember the first time we took Octopizzo to Coca-Cola. They'd never heard of him. But when we looked at his Instagram and his Twitter, I mean, they were like, who is this guy? Please bring him in. We love this guy. See the interaction. It's not only having a lot of followers and not interacting with them, but, you know, constantly being in interaction with your fans. That shapes your price. Yeah.
Certain quality standards. For instance, the kind of music being uploaded, the images being uploaded.
Oh yeah. We want top quality. We're not gonna take faded pictures and we're gonna tell you this is not gonna work. Yeah. So we have a technical person that will go through them, be like, yo, we can't upload this. Yeah. We need standard, good pictures, high resolution, not the ones you took with your Samsung. One real nice pictures that were done in a studio by a professional photographer. It's good to invest in all these things because you just never know. Music is just not about the music itself anymore. Music is a multi-million-dollar industry, and image is a big deal to some people. The music is a big thing to some people. Talent, just different things. People look for different things. I remember. We were trying to convince a certain client to bring a certain artist, and they didn't think that artist was really appealing to the youth. So you have to be appealing to somebody. So the way we choose, for example, if we're gonna do a Valentine's event, we're gonna try to choose a person that's appealing to lovers, or we're not gonna put somebody over there singing music about go shoot and kill somebody on Valentine's Day, because that's not the vibe. So image is, some people put that in consideration in many ways. Yeah. So, and then I'll tell you a little story about examples of musicians who changed the game. In Kenya, is definitely a lot of musicians. I mean, coming from the history and what happened before, Issa being one of the biggest hip hop artists in Kenya, he changed the game for good because he basically demonstrated that you didn't have to be from Dandora to make good hip-hop music, and you didn't have to rhyme in Swahili Sanifu to make sense. You could rhyme in Sheng, and you could, so that's one person. Another person in our generation is Mudhoni, who, as an artist, she had an issue with the performance places. She didn't have anywhere to perform. I remember early 2000, the only venue available in Nairobi was the Carnival, right? Everybody went to Carnival. There was no festivals. She went and built Blancas and Wine Festival. If you've never been there, have a look at some pictures. So,
wine, food, and the preferred company. Their outing is many times then spiced with live performances by talented musicians, both local and foreign-based. Started in November 2008, Blankets and Wine has grown steadily to become one of the most highly anticipated music events in Nairobi and beyond.
Thousands of people flock this edition of Blankets and Wine, which is now entering its 4th year. What started out as a platform for Kenyan musicians has now become a key venue for artists from as far as South Africa and the Sudan.
It's my second Blankets and Wine, and I think the variety of music they have is quite exciting. I mean, we've got a Sudanese lady doing a thing. I've never heard of Sudanese music, so I think it's like diversifying African music.
I think festivals like this are really necessary all over Africa because it's one of the few platforms that it's like a really truly professional platform, great sound, great stage, great audience that's ready to listen, and they're here to listen to African artists. They're not here to listen to other artists.
So you kind of get the picture, right? So how it started was, we used to go out on Saturday, and then, you know, the next day you're like, man, that was dope. What do we do today, you know? So we started going to this park, and, you know, artists would just come with their guitars, like my man over there, and just start playing. Before you know what, it was like 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. Before you know what, everybody's like, yo, there's this thing going on over there. Before you know what, it became this big festival that everybody has now replicated, and now is trying to, you know, do the same thing that she was doing. But when she really started it, it was just a vibe. It was never really a business. It was never really a business. It was just like, what do we do on Sundays? Like, there's nothing to do, you know? So we'd go to this place in Kiambu, and just people would bring their music, their food, and just be like, we're just gonna chill here until the sun goes down, and then go back home ready for Monday, right? And then look at what she created an international. They're now in 3 countries. They're in Rwanda, Uganda. I know South Africa's trying to do a similar thing, and I know Tanzania is definitely, Blankets of Wine is about to start. So this is a girl in Nairobi who was bored, wanted something to do, and didn't have anywhere to perform. She's an artist herself. She felt like her music was so different. Where could she perform it? She couldn't perform it on the mainstream stages because the mainstream stages were all about the mainstream artists. And then she used Facebook and Twitter and just basically to promote it. When it finally started becoming big, like, you know, she would, you know, announce what dates, what artists. People started calling in and saying, we want to see these artists, we want to see these DJs. And boom, she exploded. And if you see any other festival right now, it's trying to replicate what she does. I mean, you know, Karoga is pretty much, you know, inspired by what Blankets of Wine did. Because at the time, before that, when we approached sponsors to do festivals, they were like, no, we can't. They didn't want to talk about festivals. And here it is, a young person is going out there, use her own creativity, technology to build something that can become a revenue earner for the country, creating a lot of cultural exchanges. We had a lot more South African artists come in, American artists. We had, not only that, those guys have been exposed to Kenyan culture. So when they come here to perform, they take back what they've learned in Kenya. And then that's the kind of global village that we want to live in. And big up to her on that. And many, many other artists that are using technology to change life and just improve quality of life in general. I'll put it back to you. Any questions?
Question, is there because I'm like a filmmaker, so is there a place where you can find Kenyan composed music online? Because I've checked, I mean, I have scoured online for like music that you can use as background music for any film that you're doing, because it's hard to find like authentic music that sounds pretty good.
You ever heard of the Permanent Presidential Music Commission?
Permanent Presidential, no.
Yeah, it's right next to the State House. They're building an archive in there. They're just building it now. So they're gonna have all the indigenous music from Kenya from the beginning, right in there. So if you're ever on that street, just drop by, go see them. They're quite lovely people. They'll let you in. But last time I was there, they were building the center where they're gonna have it online. They're gonna start putting everything online, and they're gonna collect all the indigenous music. And create a library and an archive for Kenya music. So it's being built.
Hi guys. I wanted to ask Buddha Blaze a question.
Yes, go ahead.
And also inquire his insights.
Yeah.
If you look at the Kenyan music industry, mostly about the style. There's a style by, let's say, Issa. I haven't seen anyone replicate what Issa did. Then there's a style by Juakali. He perfected the art of genge music. Then there is the Keishaka style of hip hop. If you look at the bongo style of music, it's constant. So what is the Kenyan style? There is the Longomban style. So what is the Kenyan style? And what are your sentiments along that line?
Trying to get me in trouble, right? So Kenyan style, I don't know. I mean, Kenya's a diverse country, you know? Quite more diverse than Tanzania or Uganda. There's just so many styles. I think I would say Kenya is in a state of constantly searching for that style. I think we're looking. I think Ogopa tried it, Kapuka. That was good for a while. But you know, trends, they end, you know, and you start. So I think Benga is the Kenyan style. Benga music, you know, go back to all the old artists in River Road. That's Kenyan style for real, because when you see people dancing that music, they feel it. And there's Benga in all types of different languages. There's Benga in Luo, there's Benga in Kikuyu. It's all that guitar, you know, that one string guitar, that one. That's Kenyan style. And trust me, that style has influenced a lot of music. People don't understand it. Back in the 60s, Congolese artists used to come to Kenya to learn how to play benga and take it back to all the way to Cote d'Ivoire. They came here. Oliver Mtukudzi, everybody, you know Oliver? He came here to learn how to play the guitar. He came to Kenya. So as much as we've been at the center of pushing out styles, we've also been at the center of consuming many styles. So Kenya's always been a place where anything goes. So this year it's Nigerian music, next year it's bongo, next year maybe it's a Kenyan vibe. So I tell artists, everything goes in cycles. There was a time when all we heard on Kenyan radio, even if you go out to the clubs, it was always Lingala, right? We were suffering then. And then, you know what, opened up, became bongo style. So, you know, Kenya is going through its times and just searching for its sound, and I think it's gonna come. It's patience and keep playing, and you just never know. It might be one of those. Next question.
Mine is not a question. It's just to help Joe. Is asking about. He was asking about maybe some nice classical instrumental music that you can use in a film. There are guys who have a lot of that, but mostly it's not played in mainstream media because it will sound maybe boring. But it has a whole group of its own fans who do that. So.
What's the name of the community?
They're actually just small groups of people that do different kinds of such music. I'll talk to him. And also, just to comment on the Kenyan style, I think it's really, because every time we hear someone has come up with a genge, hip hop, kapuka, benga, naija, so it's called ge naija kitu. So someone just says that's my style called gipuka, henge, sijui nini. So I think our main style maybe is benga, as you've said. Then someone can use a benga beat to do a hip hop track or something.
It goes back to our history. I mean, if you guys understand the political history of Kenya, it's like in early, I can't remember the years, but Moi was the president. He didn't want nobody singing anything unless you're praising him. Remember that, right? So people would just suppress creatively. Everybody, it was just, that was the time that Ngugi went into exile. So anybody that was trying to do any sort of creative, you can't be creative unless you're hating on the government, right? It's not really good creativity. You have to do something. I mean, Bob Marley's, whether it was Tupac Shakur, you have to talk about your people. You have to be talking about the present day state of your environment. How many artists came out of that environment? Not too many, because they were not. If you had any song criticizing the state of life or criticizing anything, so remember, for 24 hours, for 24 years, that's suppression. No music coming out. That's, I think, why Kenyans started listening to a lot of foreign music that was being imported here by the media. So 24 years is a pretty long time to not hear your own music and not be creative. So people say, where's Kenyan? But you got these young people who are now living in a free country, want to create music, want to express themselves, but they have no grandfathers to look up on and say, hey, if you look at hip hop comes, it's a generational stage, has followed its roots back to soul music and jazz. So, if you look at Nas, who's one of the best rappers now, can trace the roots to his father, who was a jazz artist, Oludara. And they can talk about music, and he could tell them, this is what we played when I was growing up. Now you doing this. It's the same thing. If you look at jazz and hip hop have the same roots. It's all about social commentary, whereby a musician now who's watching MTV, who's watching Channel O, the least he can come up with is Genge, because that's his idea of music, because he hasn't seen his grandfather, or he hasn't been able to talk to his grandfather about music, or his father, or his uncle. And in the Constitution of Kenya, a musician was a person that played at funerals. You know that guy, the guy who's always just at the funeral, you have to pass and drop 10 shillings? That's what they put as musicians. Only now that this generation is changing that. The fights with MCSK, finally we can address the situation of music copyrights. Just nobody has ever cared about it. It's only this generation that's finally changing how people look at music, how companies approach music. It's only happening now, whereby for so many other people, so many other countries, these situations have already been fought over. They fixed those situations, so the people now are just enjoying the fruits of what people did in the past. But we're gonna be the first millionaire grandfathers from music, hopefully. So that hasn't happened. It started happening. You have at least 10 or 20 millionaire artists living in our streets, actually making money from music. So that's happening slowly with the help of technology and even the way they're going to be tracking. What MCSK has put together a system that's going to be tracking every time your song plays on the radio, you get a SMS. Like, damn, my songs. If you get many SMS, it means your song is playing, and that's money. So that's going to be happening, and I think they're building the systems now. Any questions?
So I want to ask about...
Yo, what's your name?
Yuri.
Yuri. Okay.
Yeah.
You an artist?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just my colleague and I were representing an artist community.
Okay. Which one?
Actually, let him.
Yeah. Speak for a change. Thank you.
So we're trying to create a university festive for poetry, music, and comedy. And we want to also create a creative collection, a website where people can sort of create a community. If you want to listen to a particular kind of poetry, you know where you're going to get it. And then this artist can also have an opportunity to sort of share ideas and talk to their fans and their audience. Yeah.
Okay, sounds like a good idea. What are you going to call the community?
We're still looking for a name, but
good.
for now, we just Writers Collective. Yeah.
Okay, right now we're calling it Creative Collective, and the idea is we want to take that social media reach that a lot of artists have, and then channel that into one place. So connecting your SoundCloud, your YouTube, your Facebook, and everything. Right. Then at the same time, sometimes it's not just the music that you play. Sometimes it's the issues that you stand for.
Yeah.
And in a way, artists have had to divide their audience. There are people who come to your concerts, people who follow you on Twitter, people who only see you active on Facebook. So if, for example, like Ilani Speaks, in her case, the YouTube video didn't get a lot of views, as you'd expect it would from artists. But people heard about it on Facebook, on Twitter, so in a way, there are these walled gardens, so trying to pull together the social networks. Then on top of that, we haven't mentioned it, but the alternative revenue streams. So artists are trying to merchandise, they're trying to find other ways to sell their brand. So what we're looking at is, if you're performing, at one of the events that we organized, we recently organized Love at Dusk at our university, Riyadh University. You come for that event, and we want to give shirts that have your brand on it. We want you to sell your CDs or your DVDs. We want you to bands, bracelets, paintings, whatever. Right? But at the same time, we want to promote themes, because I think a lot of artists get discovered at stuff like festivals and so on. So it's not so much that we look for the best, then we book you. We want to give the community a voice. That's why it's a collective. So we don't promote or feature artists per se. We just give people a platform and say, hey, promote yourself. You come there, bring whatever merchandise you have, bring your soul with you, and then we'll give you that platform. We can sing, do poetry, or do some sort of performance. So we're looking at performing artists and not just musicians.
And mostly up-and-coming artists.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a great idea. I think that will work in this time, because everybody's looking for information. Everybody's looking for something different, and it's a perfect way to do it. I love it. So please keep me posted when it comes up.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about Spotify and YouTube Red. The whole idea of paying artists a few cents every time the song is played. And a lot of artists, including Jay-Z, in fact, one of the reasons he started Tidal was to escape Spotify. Yeah, and it seems that artists don't consider comparative value, which is ironic, because like on iTunes, if I want to buy a song from Jay-Z or Kanye West, they're priced the same. Even if I feel that $1 for a Jay-Z track is like 1,000 times better than Kanye. And that's just my personal feelings. But then these artists, when it comes to their music being played, they're only getting a few cents for every play. And so many artists have felt that this is an injustice, and they've been using the term reduced value. They're saying that this means that my music is worth less to my fans because I only get a few cents for it. Yeah. So I wanted to ask, will YouTube Red and these other upcoming platforms, or stuff like Bandcamp, where pay what you want kind of model, what is the ideal way to, like, let's say traditionally, let's say your producers are involved, your studio's involved, what's the ideal way to monetize your music?
Like for the music itself?
Yeah, like selling the songs.
Yeah, I mean, most of the best ways to sell it was just to sell it, put it out in the shops, right? That's, if you put it out on iTunes, you get your $1 for every sale that you make. But most of the time, artists will never be satisfied. There will never be like a perfect way to make money. So, somebody like Jay-Z makes millions of dollars from YouTube, because you get paid once your video has reached a certain level. You can start getting paid. Was it like 1 million views? You start getting paid after 1 million views? Yeah. Artists actually get paid, and the more frequent you do it, the more money you make. But an artist will always feel like they're being shafted somewhere. Remember, somebody has gone to the studio, they've really put in work to create great work that's changing people's lives, and then they see their music just being misused. Obviously, they're gonna try to protect, and if you're a rich artist like Jay-Z, you'll create your own Spotify so that you protect your music, and that's the only way that you sell it. So there's no perfect way, but I think one of the most perfect ways is to create your own platform, so that every time people want music, they go to your platform. So, for example, if you have a website, what Octopizzo was doing, you got the website, people get to sample your music. If they really want it as a ringtone or whatever, they click on, and that money goes straight to you because you've connected to either your M-Pesa or your bank account. I think that's the easiest way, just to answer your question. But there's so many different ways. Art is not something that you can limit people from consuming. People will find, some people download your music. You have people like Kanye West giving out his album for free. And still people go out there and buy it because people want to feel like, this is my favorite artist. I want him to make money off the music that he's created. So just different ways. So if you're a really, really big artist, then you're not necessarily relying on record sales. You're relying on big shows. You're relying on performances, tours. That's really where the big bucks is. Yeah. More questions?
We're going to have our last two questions, and then we're going to finish up for the night, okay? You go, and then you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm Fred. I'm a programmer, and I'm also an artist.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a question for you. It's about an event you used to organize.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Which one?
Yeah, Wapi.
Oh, Wapi.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Wapi was like a iHub for techies. Wapi was like a iHub for artists.
Yes.
Most of the popular artists we have today came from Wapi.
Yes.
So I was just wondering what happened to it.
Basically what happened was we used to use the British Council space. British Council was very gracious to let us use their space. That's just because the director at the time was just, I don't know if you know a guy called David Hicks. He was a hippie before he became director of British Council, and he used to road manage a band called the Sex Pistols. So he was very rebellious in his own. So when we approached him about doing Wapi, he was very generous. But as you know, directors only last 5 years, and then they have to go. So the new director, oh yo, she was on some other stuff. She didn't even know nothing about music. She was like, I just want to do education and stuff. Can you clean the walls, please? You remember the graffiti? Oh, they cleaned them. They're all white now. So she didn't want to do anything with music. She was, people change, and now we just had to move. So I feel like, I think we exhausted Wapi, and because we put up a lot of artists that are now entertaining y'all, I feel like we did our job. Calligraph, Madoni, Sauti Soul. So when people ask me what happened to Wapi, I'm like, that happened to Wapi. All these guys all came from that platform. And they're doing big things, right? So Wapi's still alive. That's how I feel. Any other question? Yeah, the last one, yeah.
It was more of a comment to Yuri.
Sure.
It's more of a warning to upcoming artists. People become artists without realizing, without first reading up on what it means to be an artist. They don't find out, they don't go up and read about copyright claims, things like that. As in, when you use someone else's instrumentals, or something of the sort, it's more of, if you want to be an artist, do your research first.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and just push like YouTube Red, for example. It's actually a platform for premium users only. As in, if you're not a premium user, it produces content that you'll not get if you're a premium user of YouTube. So if you really want to market, it's more like a platform for the most high-end YouTubers completely. Someone like PewDiePie, for example. You'll only find some of his content on YouTube Red. But if you're just starting out, I'd recommend first do your research first, then you can go from there.
That's great advice. That's for another topic altogether. Yeah. Big up. Last question? Yes.
I wanted to ask your opinion. You've dealt with a lot of artists over several years.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to earn money, it's another to manage and organize your finances.
Sure,
where do artists go wrong?
Girls, booze, and life, you know what I mean? That's where they go, No, I don't know where they go wrong. I think what it is, music, the industry is just like life, You treat your own life. If you respect yourself, if you're ready to get educated, research about you, you find somebody like Nameless, for example, who's been a great artist. He's also a highly educated individual. He's always going to have a higher level of success because he knows how to handle his money, he knows how to handle his finances, he knows how to handle his life. Everything just translates back to who you are as an individual. Why you're doing what you do? Have you researched it? Are you educated on it? Are you ready to go the long haul, or are you just trying to do this for a little fun? A lot of artists begin for fun, and then some of them make money out of their fun, and some of them say, hey, listen, I want to take this thing serious, and I want to address some issues in my life. That's really what happens. It goes back to who you are as an individual. If you get money, are you just going to spend it on on things that don't matter, or you're gonna build yourself and become a better human being. Yeah. Thank you so much, family. Oh, last question, and then we out. Yeah. Or comment.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Like, people consider artists or musicians to be mainstream guys, like people you know, like Octopizo, you know. But for me, from the group I come from, I know a lot of people who make more money than the mainstream guys. They just play. This guy plays keys every day in different hotels, in different bands. This guy plays bass and all that. So they do a lot of good stuff. They are not really out there to be recognized or and all that, but they make more money actually, because I can count and I've done it, than those main guys out there. So we don't really care about MCSK, CG, taking your 5 bob and all that. But you're still in the music industry and you're still doing well. So I don't know how to categorize that, because it's
That's
really
still music. I mean, there's musicians who are doing the real music, and then there's showbiz musicians. So I mean, it's just, you know, it's your choice where you want to be. Some people go both. Some people will be making good music, and they want to live the music. They just want to play music. They're not interested in the dramas and the society, the pop society. They're not interested. So there's different levels, you know. And I think music is a big enough industry for you to fit in where you fit in. And big up on that. Keep making that money, brah. Bless it. Thank you so much for this opportunity, iHub and Nakia. Holla at me on Twitter, ITS Buddha Blaze. Okay, my man with the guitar. You gonna play us something? Or the strings are cut? Oh man, okay, there's electricity here. No cables? Do you know any poet here? Any singer? Any MC? Is there an MC here? Is an MC? You an MC? Come do us a rhyme as we close this. Thank you so much. You guys have been awesome. Big up to iHub. Freestyle, bro. Freestyle. What's your name? Aram. That's your rap name?
Yeah.
Bless, man. Give us a freestyle. Thank you so much.
Kutakuaje, tutafanyaje, basi ndo itubambe, tumeganda, inafaa steam ikue, inapanda, kujipanga, juu inakaa leo tutakosa manga, brother. Kusurvive, kustay alive, so solo na strive, jira moyoni, violence solution, kupigika negativity, sura maoni, hauoni, cheki mira, uso ishajikunja, majira ikisonga, taab kunisonga, kunizingira, ni mii baba juu ya duara, dira analeta, penda usipende hawezi kinga, kiujinga hawezi pinga, ni kujipanga, janga kuepuka, kubonga mingi zi, chache tu, sikio ndi, furahi na ji, uhai ni free, dunia kuzimbona, upendo bila vitendo, ona, uzuri unapata kwa ugumu wapi, Mungu ndugu wapi, utu huku watu, hamna huruma. Huduma ya kwanza na wapa, life proper ishawachapa, kiushuja buda na jikaza, mkijiandama siwezi zama, instead mistari na awacha alama, juu mtasimama. Yeah.
Hi everyone. I'm a bit different than the rest of you. I'm also rap in French, so I'm going to do something in French because I'm from Congo. Je m'en souviens comme si c'était hier, un pas en arrière, me revoir le primaire, 1m20, à peu près 30 kg net de poids, t'es nu, vestimentaire bleu, blanc, qu'est-ce que tu crois? À cet étage, je joue à cache-cache, admire Robin de Bois, pleure pour Simba, kiffe Mortal Kombat sur la Sega, du haut du balcon de la maison, compter toutes les belles tu revois. À cette même époque, je suis victime de Cupidon, je découvre donc mon premier grand amour. En classe, je chuchote, j'envoie des notes, déclare ma flamme qui m'ont valu quelques coups de chicotte. Mais même quand t'es en retard, tu te bouffes quelques coups de chicotte. Thank you.
The good. Oh, he's tuning it. So we have one more. We have room for one or two more. Are there any singers, poets, rappers?
Hey. My name is Dennis, aka Shortcut the Dennis, Shortcut Dennis. Yeah, I'm a rapper. Kila asubuhi kukikucha na kuaga on toes kaa vile jiga kwa miguu za horse restless jusina enough of those cash in my bags gags na sharks kwa dunia kavu mpaka na muomba Mungu anitumie jeshi la wokovu lakini wanaleta wivu wakisema mvumilivu hula mbivu hawajui nina life kabaloni kila siku na air hizo mamilion doni kiglory na kuwa millionaire kuhang na watu wana idea ndo nipate idea za kuendelea so be sure ukinivalia nitakuvulia kisha nikufulie kwa sink na nikupakulie kwa sinia.
He's unwell. Oh, it's gonna take a while. Okay. Well, I think would love to have him play, but I know everyone is like tired and ready to go home. So I want to close it out, and then I'm going to hand it to Nakissa by saying thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your time, for listening, for asking amazing questions. And again, we did want to make this, and we will continue to make this a forum for something that's very different, very interactive, where people are really able to express their art and what's in their souls and be able to pour it out. So again, thank you so much. Asante sana, my Swahili is horrible. Asante sana is the best I can do. Thank you, and we hope to see you again next month. And I'm going to hand it over to Nakissa. Nakissa?
Thanks, Nakia. Wow, what's left to say? I think just to reiterate what Buddha Blaze said, if you want to get in touch with him, please tweet him at it's Buddha Blaze. If you have follow-up questions, or if you want to know about iHub Speaks, please follow the hashtag iHub Speaks, or please tweet me at Nakissa. I think that's about it. We hope to see you next month. Or the month after that, we have an extremely exciting topic to discuss. There's pizza, so please don't go just yet. There's pizza for everyone and some soda, and maybe take that chance to grab Buddha Blaze or anyone else that you think that you need to talk to before you leave. Are you guys ready? We've been trying to buy time for you. Yep, so great. I think that's it. Yeah, there's a challenge here. If the guitar isn't doing it for you, then just sing it a cappella.
I think I know what I'll sing. So this is a song I sampled, but wrote my own verses. Oh, I need to stand up. All right, cool. Hi, my name is CL Nuke. I do music for life, for a living, but for life. What? CL are my initials, and then someone added a nuke because it was apt. Yeah. So, this is a song I sampled off Ini Kamozi's old song, Here Comes the Hot Stepper. I'd play it, but that ship has sailed, so yeah. Yeah. It's a rap song thing, and I think you guys know it a little, the chorus. All right. Sometimes I rap for the club, sometimes I rap for the streets. Got 'em paying attention when I'm flowing on this beat. Everyone waiting for my next word like a preacher, but I just want to be covered in cheese like a pizza. As far as rap go, look at the ways that I can flow. Don't I just love it when people pretend they ain't even know? Nuke is the greatest, and I think that's something I need to show. I've been singing so long, man, they thought I let the crown go shit. Rate me out of 10, I'm showing you the word to teaser. When I'm on a beating lazima ni uwe kabisa. Pen and pictures of my words, ingoma ni kama Mona Lisa. Tuliza ya nduru, jo inaka bado sijamaliza. Venye natisha, jo nikibisha, wakikata napita na dirisha. I'm eating rappers, kila mistari nikanajilisha. Niko kwa mic vile watu wanga tu wameshtuka. Ngoma inacheza lakini wameshindwa kubanjuka. Murderer, I'm a lyrical gangster. Big got the crew in the area. I still love you like that. Here comes the hot stepper. I'm a lyrical gangster. Big got the crew in the area. I still love you like that. Yeah, sometimes I drink at the club, sometimes I drink at the crib. Kejani juu hapa kuna mtu anaweza kunibeba. And I like my whiskey neat, my whiskey looking dapper. Alafu nikikazwa na kojolea marapa. Cheki JK Dream is a crew. My guys mbaya sana, ngoma ni moto juu mistari zangu ni fire bana. Mi punch my lines alafu nazisholala salama. Na nikiflow nikari vatana athi galana. Lyrical bullets, son nikishoot beats die bro. And I'm so fly so I'm finna stay high yo. I never land, I'm on my Peter Pan. On the mic deliver like the pizza man and I don't even try yo. Juni raisi, yeah I said it's easy. Miudunda kwa beat bila kupiga tizi. Nikioko mic vile watu wanga tu wameshtuka. Ngoma inawapeleka juu sidhani watashuka. Murderer, I'm a lyrical gangster. Bigger the crew in the area. I still love you like that. Here comes the stepper. I'm a lyrical gangster. Bigger the crew in the area. I still love you like that. I said na 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 na. Yeah, I think it ends like that. But